Welcome back to the series where I'm walking around the whole of Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly in one trip. In this video, I'm starting where I left off at Mawgan Porth and walk through the most populated and one of the most popular towns of Newquay, get my last ferry of the trip across the River Gannel, plod across the two longest beaches in Cornwall, visit the most photographed mine, camp in Tehidy Woods to avoid the rain, and finish just past the iconic St.Ives. Good morning from the side of a cliff. The sun is up. It's about 8:15, so I kind of overslept a bit, but I can't see anyone, so we should be alright. So I'm going to pack up and I shall see you in a minute. Right, now time to brush my teeth. Okay, the time now is 9 o'clock and it'll probably take me about 20 minutes to get to Mawgan Porth, which is the next town. And there they have a supermarket, it's called Cornish Fresh or something, where I'll get some supplies because I've actually run out other than like one oat bar or whatever. So yeah, go down there, get some stuff, and then it'll be about 3.5 hours maybe to Newquay. So yeah, got a good day I think. It wasn't actually too hard yesterday in terms of walking and cliffs and whatnot. So yeah, let's get going. With the rather ominous sight of the camp spot from last night behind me, I started the day heading towards the next town of Mawgan Porth. Arriving at Mawgan Porth, named after the 6th century Welsh saint, I went into the supermarket where I filled up on snacks and had a pasty for breakfast, whilst watching this crow dance around and pick up my crumbs. Until it was time to head off again. Right, I've had my pasty, I've had some water, I've been to the toilet and a drink, so I'm pretty good. We got about 2 hours-ish till Newquay, so let's get walking. I've just had more people ask me whether I'm walking the whole coast path. I think they're always really nice because they look at you and they're like, right, he probably is. And then they ask and they're quite intrigued, and it's nice stopping for a minute or two every now and again, telling people about the trip so far, and yeah, quite wholesome. After walking straight through Watergate Bay and the amazingly named Lucky Elephant Rock, only just ahead of me was this view of Newquay. And after a short path I arrived into the town. Newquay took over St Austell as the most populated town in Cornwall this year, and it all began as an Iron Age settlement that turned into a 15th century fishing village called Towan Blistra, meaning blown sandhill, before the construction of a new quay, giving its current name. It later grew into an industrial hub for tin mining, before transitioning to a popular Victorian resort, where it has stayed a popular tourist spot, having Cornwall's main airport. I was now on my way through the town, and heading past the first of its main 5 beaches. I was now in the main town centre, and after walking past another couple beaches, including Towan Beach with the iconic island bridge, I was wanting to try a particular burger. Okay, we're in Newquay. Plan is to get a pard burger, which is related to the people that I was on stage with. So I made my way over to Herd Burger, where Jam and Meme, the group I was on stage with just under a week ago, had their famous pard burger. Needless to say, it was absolutely amazing, and very rarely for me, with the loaded chips as well, I couldn't finish it, and walked out the door almost falling asleep. After walking past some cool graffiti, I then went into Sainsbury's and grabbed some new socks, which helped wonders with my feet in the future. I then got recognised by this place from my posts and got given a free ice cream, which I could barely finish with how full I was from the burger, and then carried back on to the coast path and past Fistral Beach, heading towards the Gannell River. Just met someone who's been walking for 13 days from Minehead, doing just the coastal way around, and we were relating on problems with our feet, etc. Quite insightful. I haven't seen a fellow hiker that's doing it lot for a while, so that was nice. He did, however, cut across this bit, so I'm going the long way around to try and find all the views. Walking through this cool garden, I hopped on the ferry across the last river I would have to get past of the trip, over to Crantock Beach. I would have filmed myself coming up here, but there was probably about an 8-year-old kid following me for a little bit, asking me loads of questions, which is okay. It's good for them to ask and maybe get intrigued by the idea, want to do something like this themselves. We're back on the coastal path, just on the other side of Crantock, which I had to get the ferry for. Cheapest one and the shortest one so far is £1.80. Bargain. Trying to reach Perranporth today, hopefully. So yeah, let's see how that goes. These sand dunes are tough. Somehow the sand's getting in my teeth, in my boots, in my camera, and my camera's up here. So I don't know how that's happening, but yeah, we're not too far from Perranporth. It's pretty annoying. I have to chill there for a while to charge up and whatnot, but it's got to be done. Wish I could have got further, but hopefully gonna camp in between there and St.Agnes today, depending on how far I get. But yeah, the sun's hot today as well, which is annoying, but it's better than it raining, which is supposed to do on Saturday in the evening, and then the day after that, or the day after that, it's supposed to be raining basically all day, which is pants. But it's about 4 days till we get back to my house, and then just a bit longer to the Scilly, and then we'll finish the walk. So I'm looking forward to the end, but I'm also not, because it will be the end, and this has been probably the experience of my lifetime so far. So yeah, bit longer, let's go. I was now heading into Wheal, famed for its surf and amazingly colourful caves, but first I had to empty the whole beach back out of my boots. I think I better get the sand down my shoes before we go on. They feel pretty full. After taking my socks and shoes off and putting them back on, my feet were hurting bad again, but nevertheless I pushed onwards. My feet recently hurt more when I stop, which is completely different to when I was starting. They would be hurting, and then I would stop and they'd be fine again. So it's very weird how walking affects you. But yeah, I probably stopped for about 10 minutes there, clearing out all the sand from my socks and my boots, and then now I'm walking again. It's kind of a bit harder, so it might take us a bit longer to get there, but we'll get there. And there's loads of good camp spots around Perranporth. There's a whole sand dune, but don't want to get sand in the tent again. Or I can go on the other side and there should be a good wood, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, we got a few good options tonight. Just in the distance, I could see Perranporth and the nearly 3 miles of beach that I would have to cross. But first, just up ahead was a spooky old military base that I would have to get past. I could now see clearly the almost 3 miles of painful and seemingly endless beach ahead of me, which I was not looking forward to, but first I had to get down. The map's saying that this is going to take an hour to walk across. Not looking forward to this, but oh well, fastest way I suppose, so yeah, let's go. For the next 50 minutes, I painstakingly crossed this beach step by step. Beaches are almost the worst part of the coast path to walk on, because it never seems like you're getting anywhere. It takes more effort to step when your foot sinks in the sand and everything looks exactly the same. Wish I had one of those right now. Whilst walking along, I got a message from a follower asking to meet in the Wetherspoons, so I set my sights on the Green Parrot and eventually made it to the end of the beach and into the town. That's where I was the other day, before then. It's kind of weird to be back here actually, having walked here. Yes. I use this interaction as a chance to rest my feet after a long day walking and to charge up my stuff. And after 2 hours or so, I left to go and find a spot to camp as it got dark in the dunes for the second time of the trip. Okay, I've just spent some time with a follower. It was a nice little 2-hour break, charging up, having a few pints. So I'm literally back where I was camping 6 days ago in Perranporth, just by it on the dunes. So I'm thinking, right here, perfect spot. Try and get a bit less sandy this time, but yeah, tomorrow a bit further on, St.Agnes way. Proper job, let's put the tent up. Okay, the tent is up, I'm gonna get some sleep, and I shall see you tomorrow. Good morning from the dunes. Apparently it rained last night, I didn't hear it, but it must have because my tent is soaked. Well, not soaked, but it's wet. So that wasn't amazing, but other than that, we had a good night's sleep. We kind of had to lay on this, which is like a natural pillow, that little bit of grass there, so that was quite nice. Yeah, today we're trying to get to Perranporth / Tehidy. Tehidy is quite a big woods near Redruth. They've got, it's supposed to be raining tonight, so they've got an old coast guard, it's got a roof, so if I get to there at a good time in the evening, then I can put my tent up in dryness, hopefully. But yeah, it's supposed to start raining at about 7, so hopefully if I get there before then it'll be a bit annoying putting up a bit early, but at least I won't be getting soaked while I'm putting up my tent. So yeah, we'll have to decide nearer the time, but until then, let's take this tent down and start walking. Okay, the time now is 8:30, which is an earlier one than we're normally used to, not a bad thing. There is a charity shop open at 9:30 in Perranporth where I could get another t-shirt or some trousers because I'm running out. I have run out, these are the last ones, so idea, but then I'll have to stay here for an hour, which obviously isn't good. So I might just skip that and go on. I'm going to have some breakfast, biscuit and sweet breakfast. And then, yeah, get on. So, that's some snacks, and I shall see you in a minute. After packing down, I made my way back into the town, where I had some breakfast and looked around for some cheap clothes. I couldn't find any, but spotted the same socks I got for free a few days ago, and started heading back towards the coast path. Perranporth is known for being the place that the patron saint of Cornwall, St. Perran, landed after being chucked off a cliff in Ireland tied to a millstone, and miraculously floated across the sea around the 6th century, with many old ancient sites nearby connected to this story. The town itself thrived on mining, but now like the rest of Cornwall, has tourism as its main industry. Tell if you can't hear me, that's probably why. I went to the charity shop, all the shirts were just so I didn't go for it. I can always rewear them. I mean, I'm already grotty and unclean. It's not a glamorous pursuit, this walk, but yeah, might just have to do that. Yeah, on the route again. Should be maybe around Godrevy today. I was looking at the map and I reckon I can push it. As long as I don't get to St.Ives, because that's like #1 tourist spot in Cornwall, we should be okay. So I'm going to keep on walking and see where we get to today. So with the wind in full force, I headed off towards St.Agnes. Feel a few drops of rain, which isn't amazing, so as long as it's a few drops, that's okay. After an hour or so walking the unique rocky St.Agnes coastline, I had made it to my first big hill I'd have to climb in days, and surrounding the area were a handful of old mines, which added a bit of charm to the coastline. Soon enough, I made it to Trevornance Cove, which is connected to the main town of St. Agnes. St. Agnes is a very old town, with Stone Age sites dating back to 10,000 BC. It was a mining powerhouse, dominating the cliffs with tin, copper and arsenic mining, leaving behind remnants of old mines all across the coastline. It also had a significant harbour for imports and exports, which was destructed in 1915 by a storm. After a quick explore, I walked past the cove and carried on my way towards St. Agnes Head, where I would be able to see the coastline all the way to Godrevy. I could now see all the way across the coast to Godrevy, and luckily it looked mostly flat. It was, however, probably the windiest day of the trip, and I was walking at an angle constantly to try and battle it. Until I soon reached Wheal Coates, a tin mine which ran from 1802 to 1889, and shortly from 1911 to 1913, which is one of two of the most photographed mines in Cornwall. After having a quick look around this cool site, I headed back off and towards Perranporth. Porth Town was an 18th century copper mining village, which along with the other nearby towns transformed the area into an industrial hub. before the decline of the mining industry. And once again, sadly like the majority of Cornwall's coastal towns and villages, today tourism is the village's main industry. Walking through, I grabbed some lunch, including a much craved pasty, and headed back off again. This is Wheal Coates, a tin mine that operated in the mid-19th century, achieving its peak production in the 1850s, with the structures from 1927 still standing. After a look around, I carried back on, and after passing a few other old buildings, I reached this devil of a staircase and the creatively named Sally's Bottom. Once I climbed to the top, I set my sights on Portreth, the next big village on the journey, hoping to get there in time before it was set to rain. Portreth was a small fishing and agricultural village that turned into a vital industrial port for the nearby mines, exporting tin and copper from the 18th to late 19th century and later becoming a hub for shipbuilding, although popular for its beach today. I was aware that it was going to start raining soon, so I moved quickly past the village and up the hill, thinking about going in the abandoned coastguard to avoid the rain overnight. Well, I accidentally went up the wrong hill. There's a massive hill there I had to climb, Portreth Hill, but also it's supposed to rain from 7 to about midnight. There's an old coastguard with a roof. I'm thinking about maybe posting my tent there, so we'll have a look. Another thing Portreth is known for is its sheer drops right next to the coast path, so after having a quick peek I stayed well back and looked at how to get to the coastguard. Okay, I do have to make a decision. I can go ahead and it's definitely 100% rain in the next hour and the clouds above prove it, or I can go down there where there's houses and try and camp in that coastguard, but I do have to go through a private field which isn't the best, but it's not near a house, so I'm debating now, but I'm losing time if I was to do it, so I'm not sure, because putting up a tent in the rain, let's be honest, is terrible. Yeah, it's a hard one. I decided to go and have a look at how easy it would be to get into, but evidently it was way too risky to get to with my bag and camera debilitating me. Okay, I'm changing plans. I could do it. I've done it once before with one of my friends, but with the backpack on, with the camera, I don't think it's worth it, and especially with all the people around. So I am going to go risk the rain, which is ever closer now, and try and go to Tehidy, or the nearest place. Try and put up my tent quick, and hopefully it will be okay. With rain now imminent, I made my way back to the path and hurried on towards Tehidy Woods, the next best place with shelter. Windy. And of course, there just had to be a massive hill to climb. Okay, I just spent another 7 minutes waterproofing all my stuff, put my cover on my bag, hoping that when it does rain, I'll be fine before. I should have thought these things through a bit. I probably spent about an hour today in total looking at places to camp when it does rain, getting ready for where it rains. Where am I going to go when it rains? But I haven't actually just got on with it and just made a decision. So that's put me in a bad place right now. It's something I've learned through this now, almost at the end. Just do, act, and don't think about it for ages. So the only thing that's out right now is my camera. If it does rain, I'll put it in my bag. It should fit. That's the other issue. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get to Tehidy Woods to end today, maybe around 8 o'clock ish. Fingers crossed. It's probably not going to rain at the end, but I can feel a few drops now, so yeah, hopefully we should be alright. Suited and booted for the rain, I made my way along the last short bit before turning off to Tehidy Woods. Just as I got into the car park, I started feeling a few drops, so before it came thundering down, I left the coast path and followed the road into the largest woodland in West Cornwall, covering around 250 acres, hoping the trees would shield me a bit from the rain. Even though I was entering at 8 o'clock, Tehidy Woods is a very popular site, so I was trying to find somewhere a bit away from the main path so I would go unnoticed. I did however bump into a man who asked me if I was going to camp here. I gave him a smirking maybe, and he gave me an approving laugh. Okay, we're in Tehidy. I'm not going to lie, I thought there were more hiding places than this, or like, you know, closer together trees or whatnot. It is a massive park, so there probably are different areas that are better, but right now it's just that, and that's not amazing. So I'm going to try and find somewhere maybe on the outskirts, and where it's a bit harder to find, and put it up there, because this is a very popular place. So yeah, that's the plan. See what happens. The rain is starting to pick up. I just had someone ask me if I'm looking for somewhere to stay, and I went, maybe, and he laughed, and he seemed pretty pleasant. So I don't think people actually care. They don't. But yeah, it's kind of a bit dodgy. Okay, the rain's getting a bit bad. I don't know how bad the camera is right now, but yeah, it's getting bad, so I think we might just have to go right here. It's a bit away from the path, you can probably see it, but people don't care. It's going to be raining, it's going to be out here anyway. Be up early tomorrow because I've got some distance to cover, which I missed today. But yeah, I'm going to put up the tent, so let's do it. Okay, tent is up, rain is picking up. There are still people, so I'm going to go now, and I shall see you tomorrow. Good morning from Tehidy Woods. It's almost 9 o'clock. I slept in a bit because I know for some reason I'm just really bad at getting up. There didn't seem to be anyone around, which is good. I reckon it'll probably take me about half an hour to take the tent down, and then today I'm hoping to get to Zena. which is a bit of a stretch. It's past St.Ives, which I might spend a bit of time in, depending on what's open. But yeah, that's the hope. I may be meeting my uncle-in-law today to walk around Godrevy because he knows the area quite well, so that might be fun. So yeah, a bit of an interesting day ahead, and yeah, let's pack down this tent and get on with it. Okay, the tent is packed away, just got to put this in my bag, and then we're off to Godrevy, and then hopefully just past St.Ives, but we'll see how the day goes, because if I'm walking with someone else it might be a bit slower, it might be a bit faster, who knows. We go past an interesting place called Hell's Mouth today, which is a good site, and it's quite a cool little place, so I'm going to take a few videos of there, but otherwise we better get on. So I made my way out of the woods with a good idea of where I was heading today and a possible first walking partner of the trip to come. But first I'd get around this horse. And make my way back to the coast path. And of course, it was still very windy. Back on the coast path, just as windy, if not more than yesterday, but that's something I'll have to deal with. It's supposed to be a tiny bit of rain some points throughout the day, which is fine. It's not like last night. It was raining for like 5 hours. Luckily the tent didn't get soaked, that was something I was worried about, but I made sure it was tight. Little pro tip for you there. So yeah, got a bit of walking to do today, but I'm sure we'll have some fun. If you look over there, that's Godrevy. You can see Godrevy Lighthouse. Past that there's about 3 to 4 miles of sand I've got to walk, and if I remember anything from Perranporth, that's going to be hell, but at least it's flat. We should actually get a good sense there. If you look past that, you can see St.Ives, which is probably tourist town number 1 in Cornwall. Every year they have the New Year's Eve fireworks. That's one of the biggest attractions in Cornwall for New Year's Eve. I think it's in Britain as well. It's one of the biggest firework displays or something like that. So yeah, they've got a lot of good shops there. It's Sunday right now, but everything's still open in St.Ives because everyone goes there. So maybe get some fish and chips, a meal. They got a cool arcade as well. Maybe spend a bit of time in there. Try not to lose all my money like Lou. And yeah, should be a good day of locations actually. Kind of looking forward to this one. It's a bit different every little turn, so yeah, looking forward to it. So, eager to get on my way with a day packed full of popular locations, I pushed forward. Something about this particular stretch is that there's a lot of bushes between the coast path. There's little bits where you can go in and see it, but you can't see it the whole way. And also there's about a car park every 100 metres. So it's a bit of a weird one. And they've always got white vans in them with just like older people. It's kind of strange. But yeah, it's pretty flat. That's a good thing, I suppose. The amount of times I've stubbed my toe on this journey has been mental. Every time it's on a rock or a root and it hurts so much. But you just gotta keep on walking. But yeah, I haven't probably filmed any of them, but it's dreadful. Probably where my feet are in quite a bit actually, but yeah, Christ. With my poor feet still getting battered, I did end up meeting my uncle, which ended up being a very pleasant change having someone to talk to. And being a National Trust worker, he had some good knowledge about the area I didn't know before. So chatting away, we made it past the first sight of Hell's Mouth I was looking forward to, and headed towards Godrevy. We had now reached the longest beach in Cornwall, Gwithian. With all 3 miles of its mighty sands we would have to cross all the way to Wheal town, where we were planning on getting a well-deserved pasty. So here it is, some dramatic music as we struggle along this feet-burning beach. After a long 3 miles, we had finally made it into Wheal town. Wheal is made up of 3 separate settlements that merged over time: Foundry, Copperhouse and the Towns. It was a busy 18th and 19th century port and centre for the Cornish mining industry, including copper smelting and engineering of heavy machinery for mining and global markets. Walking into the main town, we had one of the best pasties in Cornwall in Philps and then parted ways. My next mission was to walk around the River Wheal and Carnsue Pool so I could get on the path towards St.Ives. Okay, I've had some food. I've had pasty, yum. I've had a few other bits, however, I've completely run out of water and my phone is on 30% and my battery packs are out, so it's probably going to be about 2 hours maybe until St.Ives, where most things, even though it's a Sunday, should be open, so I can stop, get water, charge my stuff there, is the plan. And then I've still got to make it to Zena, which is probably another 2 hours after that, so it may be a walking in the dark one tonight. I guess we'll have to find out, but yeah, if we get a move on then we should be okay. After travelling down this scenic path, I was only just around the corner from St.Ives, where I was hoping to fill up my empty waters, charge up and grab some food.
Okay, I'm officially in St.Ives. Now the mission is to find somewhere to stay for maybe 2 hours so I can charge up. The Wetherspoon's closed recently, I think, so I can't go there. So I have a friend who used to work in a place that had plugs. Might go there, otherwise we're just going to have a look. But yeah, we're...
Oh, that's how it is. You're 106.
St.Ives was originally named as Port Aya after the Irish princess and missionary built an oratory here. From the Middle Ages, St.Ives was mainly a small fishing town, with around 300 boats operating locally at its peak, and a few mines that ran for a short time such as Pedonolva. Since the early 19th century, St.Ives grew in popularity as a town for artists, and after the arrival of the Great Western Railway in 1877, tourism dramatically spiked and continued growing, where today around 750,000 tourists visit a year, making it one of the most visited Cornish towns, with the place becoming absolutely packed in the summer and notably again for its grand New Year's Eve firework display. Looking back at the distance I covered today, I got some tourist-orientated, free, fresh Cornish water and made my way along the promenade, where I stopped to charge up my stuff and grabbed some food for about an hour and a half. I then left and headed straight into the arcade and got on the leaderboard for 3 Guitar Hero songs and managed to win one singular sweet from this machine, before heading back off again and towards Zena to find somewhere to camp. In a rather random encounter, a group asked me what I was filming and then asked me to put them in the video, and with trousers like that, I couldn't refuse. Okay, it's starting to get a little dark. It's 9:30. It's dark around 10. However, there's a flat part behind me which I'm thinking about. I could do. I don't really want to walk on too much more. I think that this is looking like the spot for tonight. Okay, the tent is up. The problem tonight is that it's very windy and my tent is blowing like mad. It's probably been the most unstable I think it's been, the most worried I've been that it'll blow away, but with me and my bag in there it should be fine. It might just flop over or something, but it should be fine. I'm hoping it is. I pinned it down, so yeah.
gonna get some sleep, hopefully get to St. Justice area tomorrow, and I shall see you tomorrow. With the wind and the rain battering my tent, that was the end of day 25, and I had just hit the 400-mile mark. Join me next time for the last 3 days of walking around mainland Cornwall, where I walk the Zena and Pendine coast path, which is more like rock climbing, along the St. Just coastline with countless ruins of old Cornish mines, through the most southwesterly point of mainland Britain at Land's End, above the famous Minack Theatre at Porthcurno, and back to my hometown in Penzance, where I will be getting this lonely into the Isles of Scilly.